Good morning. My name is Chasen Ishii, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd like to now call to order the May 3rd, 2023 Kalaeloa Authority meeting of the Hawaii Community Development Authority. The time is now 10:34.
Thank you, Chair. In accordance with section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statute, the Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's Kalaeloa board meeting virtually on Zoom. The Zoom link details were included on the meeting agenda. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom and also at our physical meeting site at the American Brewery Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor boardroom, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. The meeting is being live streamed on HCDA's YouTube page. The HCDA communications staff is hosting this meeting. Once the meeting begins, everyone will be muted for clearer audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourselves to speak. This is a public virtual meeting, so to prevent any distractions, if you are not a board member, staff member, or HCDA's Attorney General, please turn off your video during the meeting. If you are providing public testimony, your name will be called accordingly. Please turn your video on, clearly state your name and affiliation, and proceed with your testimony. When you have finished, please turn off your video. In accordance with section 92-3.7C Hawaii Revised Statutes, if the authority's connection for the remote meeting is lost, the meeting will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the meeting will be terminated and the authority will continue the meeting at another notice date. Thank you.
HCDA board members, please remain visible and audible during the meeting. Also, please acknowledge you're present by either saying here or present. Let the record reflect the following members are present. Vice Chair Apo.
Present. Oh,
Member Higa.
Here. Present.
Member Miranda Johnson. Member Nasser.
Present.
Member Fry.
present.
Member Evans.
Present.
And Member Ray is excused. So do we have quorum?
We have quorum, Chair.
Okay, for today's meeting, board members, you will have an opportunity to ask questions or provide comments after an agenda item has been presented. Individuals from the public who have registered to provide public verbal testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted into the meeting respectively. So the first thing on the agenda is item number 1, regular meeting minutes of April 5th, 2023. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? If there are no comments or questions, the minutes are approved. Item number 2, for information and discussion, Kalaeloa Airport Master Plan. Presentation by Herman Tuiolo-Sega, planner and of the State of Hawaii Department of Transportation's existing master plan for the Kalaeloa Airport, including current and future projects and developments, and proposed amendment to the same location located at tax map key number 19-1-1-013-032, 300 Midway Street, Kapolei, Hawaii, 96707. Mr. Ryan Tam, Director of Planning and Development, will now present the HCDA staff report. Ryan.
Hi, good morning, Chair Ishii and members. I'm joined here this morning by our senior planner, Ms. Janet Litnikoff, who focuses on Kalaeloa for us. I just wanted to briefly tee this up with the staff report, which you do have a copy of. Again, state projects on the Kalaeloa Airport property have been historically exempt from our permit reviews since Hawaii Revised Statute 206E-13 does allow state and city agencies to undertake projects in consultation with HCDA. Also, the Kalaeloa Community Development District rules do designate the airport in a special district zone that is governed by the Federal Aviation Administration. So in order to satisfy our interagency consultation in a programmatic fashion, we have invited Mr. Herman Tuiolo-Sega to discuss some of the projects. So
Thank you.
Herman, are you on?
Is Herman on?
Yeah.
Yes,
you hear
thank
me?
you.
Yes.
Yes, we can. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction, Chair and Ryan. I need to share my the screen unless
Please.
Janice can. But I need to. How do we do that here?
Yeah, you can just share it on your end. Yeah, it's upper right.
On the upper right, where the view is, or let me have some of that here.
Or on the bottom, there's a share
Wait, you
screen
getting
button.
up, please?
Yeah, you're on Zoom, right? Right.
How do we do it?
There should be a green button at the bottom that says share screen.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay. Okay, here we go.
I know the state we use Teams rather than Zoom mostly, so.
So this is a quick overview of plant improvements at Kalaeloa Airport.
Herman, sorry.
Sorry, we can't see your screen yet.
Oh,
Just make sure you're sharing the correct screen.
okay.
Or you can share the Outlook or the.
That's interesting.
No, this is a separate. Presentation. 3 slides. Do you have?
Can you see that?
No, we can't.
No, we cannot.
Yeah, so if you select the button, if you press share screen, you can pick the screen.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yep, it's coming.
There you
Thank
go.
you. We got it.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
go ahead, Herman.
Let me go back to, how do
Yeah.
trying to get controls of the PowerPoint. here. Hmm? What?
Yeah, maybe you can use your arrow keys or at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh,
there-
okay.
there you
All right. Okay. So this is a quick overview.
Okay.
Of the projects we have out there. We have master plan update, noise compatibility program, and sea level rise adaptation plan. Ongoing construction projects, we're planning almost kicking off the air traffic control tower renovation, electrical upgrades, field-based, fixed-based operation out there in fuel farm facility. And then also runway safety and runway object free area clearing and grubbing, maintenance work, and then also runway resurfacing. So as you saw on that list, the Kalaeloa Airport Master Plan Update and Noise Compatibility Program. So we have not completed a master plan since 1988, before we acquired the property from Poppers Point Naval Air Station. And then, as you see, Governor's Executive Order in 2001, and I think in 1999, July 1 was when The property was signed over. Airports acquired the property. So the master plan, you can see, we're planning to kick off that study in 2024. Will include all the development, modernization, and also a new noise study, noise exposure map. There's supposed to be limited nighttime operations out there because of some for lighting, but it is being used actively by the military. The next project we have out there, we're planning to conduct a sea level rise adaptation plan statewide. So Kalaeloa Airport is one of the airports that will be included. We're prioritizing airports on the study, and we've been requested by concerned legislators to start with Honolulu. So we're collecting all the data information and working with our consultant to move forward on these projects. We already have the project kickoff. And I said it's a statewide plan for airport system. But we are prioritizing most of our airports on the coastal areas. So Honolulu, Kalaeloa Airport will be next, and then Kahului, Hilo, and Port Island. All these airports close to the ocean. Another project we have out there is to update the control tower. It's there's other historical buildings out there. Is our hangar 111 and hangar 110. We also are collaborating with HECO right now to bring energy into the airport. As you note on the text there, we have currently all the power is supplied by the Navy, but that is limited. So we're trying to get connect with HECO so we can have sufficient power for our operations out there at the airport. So some of the projects we've collaborated, there's this project here is Million Air fixed base operation and fuel farm facility. This project, we brought this on, there was some concern from the neighborhood. There was a lot of public outcry against this project. But I think we suspect it was mainly driven by a local fueling company. They don't want outsiders to come in. But the reality is a lot of our airports are subsidized by Honolulu because airports are expensive, but some of these airports do not generate enough revenues for support. So Honolulu subsidizes a lot of operations for these airports. So fixed base operation on a field farm, figure with some of the ways management figure will get some revenues for Kalaeloa Airport. And the field farm is about 24,000 gallons. At first, we were going to accept this project for the EA process, but then because of the amount of fuel there, we wanted to go ahead with the environmental assessment. But 24,000 gallons is nothing compared to when the Navy was here. They had like 10 million gallons on their fuel farm. So that's just our perspective on that. Another project we have out there, the airport is really bad. As you know, the RSA stands for runway safety area, and ROFA is the runway object-free area. So we have a clearing and grubbing maintenance project out there. We're still working on with consultant to go on board. you notice, supposed to be runway object free, but we have wild growth in this area. In the next slide here. This is the runway object free area. These are pictures in the object. We're in real violation of FAA standards here, but luckily it's not heavily used in general aviation use. So, not a big issue now, but still not in compliance with FAA requirements. So we have to comply, and we are asking FAA for funding to upgrade these airports. So we have to comply with these violations. And then another project we have out there is total complete rehabilitation of the runways and taxiways out there. There's a lot of cracking on the pavements, runway pavement, weed coming in through the cracks, dilapidated lines, a lot of just needs a lot of maintenance. So it's going to be a complete maintenance project. It's going to rehabilitate all these runways. Also clean up, if you notice on this end here, I don't know if you can see my arrow. It's really bad, and we have these areas that extend beyond these areas. So this marking here indicates the airport landing threshold, so that when they come in to land from this side, it should be able to come in that way. They have to land inside this white hash marks. And from this distance to the right-hand side, there's a buffer area that FAA would like us to protect for air traffic. Now that area does not meet FAA standards today because it extends out to these roads. So we will have to, in this resurfacing project, we are looking at these issues, including also issues down at this end, because this buffer area I mentioned on this end also extends out to this road, and that's not good for us. So one of the areas, the alternatives we're thinking about is maybe bringing in the runway end, bringing it in closer away from the area so that we can still have these areas open. And I think that's it. On the short run, okay, that's all I have. Thank you very much for the opportunity. If there's any questions, I'm open. Thank you.
Thank you, Armin. Is there any members, are there any questions or comments on this informational report?
I have a question.
Yes, Vice Chair Poole.
Yeah, I haven't really done my homework on this. I apologize for that. What is the long-term plan in terms of the users of the airport, and how does it fit in the growth? Sorry, fit into the growth of the area with respect to the airport's relationship to all the surrounding communities around it? How does that all fit in terms of visualizing a future?
So this master plan will bear that out. We're going to have community input, but the runway okay, so how it fits into all these developments in the future, the airport is there. So any development that's going to come up in the future is going to be impacted by the airport. And we have under our zoning rules, all these and agreements with the FAA for the transit assurance. There's this land use compatibility that the state is supposed to develop to qualify for this federal money. And so when projects come up, we collaborate with the developers, and we do inform them of impacts from aircraft, noise, emissions, all of that, and then also heights. And so the position on that is if it's in a certain noise boundary, there's all these requirements, like, for example, sound attenuating. When you're developing, you need to sound attenuate to 45 decibels inside the room. But that's gonna difficult, because Hawaii, a lot of us, our structures are, it's tropical, so we don't have thick walls like the mainland. So in that regard, the DOT has lowered the standard for noise. So like the federal requirement is 60 decibels. The state requires 55 decibels for these developers. So we've kind of like limited it to 55 decibels of noise. But to tell you the truth, I know there's proposals out there like that campground out there. We're out there 2 weeks ago. And that's why I made comment earlier about we didn't, all these issues about night operations. We were really surprised, like even if you're at 60, it is still loud, especially that area is kind of like nothing around it, so the noise carries a lot. And I was really surprised about the noise, even at for small aircrafts that were taking off at far end of it. But I hope that answers your question. Sorry.
Sort of. Does the Navy still have any jurisdiction over the airport?
The Navy has no jurisdiction over the airport. It's all state owned. But the towers, through some agreements with the FAA, is operated by the National Guard, the Air National Guard.
Okay. The reason I asked the question is, that whole area, well, Kapolei basically, the model was kind of dredged up from Irvine, California, that was going through the same thing where they were losing all their agriculture, like we lost all the sugar, figuring out what to do. So there were three things that came up in their master plan. They needed a deep draft harbor, they needed a college, and they needed an airport. Those three things is what made the planners of Kapolei move into that direction. Deep draft harbor happened, probably not as big as it should have been. And of course, the college happened, not as close to Kapolei as it should have been, whatever. So I was just curious that, the Irvine model kind of took into consideration the entire, I don't know what the radius is, and how all those things fit together. So I don't know if that kind of dialogue has gone on with any of those three things, the college, the deep draft harbor, or the airport. I was just wondering about it. So it sounds to me like we're kind of rolling the dice as we go along, a little bit at a few steps at a time, and see where it goes, kind of.
No, the issue, I think, is when you have turnover, a lot of these documents are, out on the shelf. So then someone comes, and then also with new administration, that's always the case. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have plans, and then the new administrations, everything stops, and then we go another route. But yeah, we're trying our best here. There's something else. Oh yeah. So you mentioned that model you brought up.
Mm-hmm.
We we have hangars out there. There was some initiatives hoping that general aviation would move out to Kalaeloa and free up some space here in Honolulu, because we have a shortage of overnight parking for aircrafts. But the problem is, if these owners are out in Hawaii and they have a hangar here at Lagoon Drive, at the Lagoon Drive, they're not willing to go out to Kalaeloa, and we cannot.
Yeah.
So that's the issue we see now. But
Yeah, those are the kinds of things that I'm wondering, if we're paying enough attention to, is the application of an airport in that kind of geocultural business area, and how much it really works. It looks like we were doing the airport as a solution to the too much business into the main airport, as opposed to how it would fit into the history of that community. I support the airport. I'm not complaining about it. I just wanted a little more clarity as to where we're going.
Well, that's the issue. enticing companies to move out. But the airport, one of the main reasons the state wanted it is for years the state has been looking for a reliever airport for Honolulu. Since the runways are closed. An example, we are reconstructing our main runway, the one closest here to the airport. And I guess there was an incident yesterday. The one airport that was used for landings. Luckily there's a parallel, but there was a military aircraft on the main one that they used that was surrounded by fire trucks. And so incoming flights landed on the parallel runway. But it's a good thing we had that parallel runway because that reef runway, we used that mainly for departure. And we used these other cross runways for landing. So otherwise we probably would have directed that flight either to Kalaeloa or to fortunately, it didn't happen.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Any public testimony? No? If not, thank you very much, Herman.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Herman.
Next item on the agenda, a proposed transaction involving amend of that certain memorandum of understanding by and among the city and county of Honolulu, the state of Hawaii Department of Transportation, DOT, and the Hawaii Community Development Authority, HCDA, regarding certain Kalaeloa roads effective as of July 25, 2016, the MOU. Possible conveyance by the DOT to the HCDA of a remnant portion of the West Perimeter Road, no postal address, and a remnant portion of the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Avenue, no postal address, located in the Kalaeloa Community Development District, the remnant road parcels pursuant to the MOU as amended. And C, possible disposition of the remnant road parcels from HCDA to Hunt Development Corporation. Mr. Craig Nakamoto, Executive Director, will now present HCDA staff report.
Thank you, Chair. This is being provided for information only. I think this transaction or proposed transaction is going to require a few steps down in later meetings. Some of which, a lot of which will require action by this board, but I wanted to provide this for information at this time because this matter has really been a long-standing matter that I believe needs to be resolved. And it goes back to really 2016 and some discussions that predated 2016 and the memorandum of understanding that was executed by DOT, HCDA, and the various city agencies. At that time, DOT had ownership of certain portions of FDR from Enterprise to West Perimeter Road, and then owned West Perimeter Road. The intent of the memorandum of understanding was to try to clear up any confusion and uncertainty as to what standards would apply in improving these roads. Being that there was city, there was DOT and HCDA. So the memorandum of understanding was intended at first, I think, to encompass all of the roads in Kalaeloa, but were in the end, before it was signed, it was limited to just the roads called FDR, Mauka, FDR West, and West Perimeter Mauka. Now, since that time, And then the intent of the MOU was that HCDA was going to improve these roads to city and county standards and dedicate these roads to the city and county. HCDA did not end up improving these roads, but there was subsequent activity by Hunt in that area. The Google Earth map that's being shown right now shows two of the remnant parcels, the blue section, which is FDR West, and then the red section shows West Perimeter Road bulk. And those are the two remnant parcels that are issued. When Hunt extended Kamakila down past FDR into the district, what happened was that sort of intersection at FDR and Kamakila became sort of this, instead of a sort of a cross, it became a T, whereby it really cut off access to West Perimeter Road. And then it created these two remnant parcels. Subsequent discussions between HCDA and Hunt and others, subsequent to 2016, made some representations that once the Kamakila extension was completed, that there would be a conveyance of these parcels by DOT to HCDA, and then subsequently, conveyance to Hunt. And Hunt at this point would like to consolidate these two parcels with parcel 1A. And parcel 1A is shown on the map as that triangle piece next to parcel 1, where the VA clinic and the Kulu Gentry project are being developed. In order to dispose of these remnant parcels, HCD will have to go through a DLNR remnant road disposal process. We'll have to get an appraisal that values those two remnant pieces, and then go to the DLNR board. In addition, the parties, the city, HCD and DOT, will have to look at this MOU in totality and decide whether we're going to amend it or terminate it. And terminate it because maybe the value of this MOU has kind of is gone, and we can terminate. But that's something we have to work out with the city and DOT. So I just wanted to bring this matter to the board's attention as one, a matter that really has been a long-standing matter that needs to be, I think, resolved, and two, a matter that is going to require further board approvals down the line. And I'll be coming back to the board for those approvals later. We need to work out a few things, I think, with Hunt, obviously with BLNR and the city on this, and DOT.
The members, are there any questions or comments on this staff report?
Member Higa, just with a comment. I just want, Craig, I know that you all are working on this, but I think it's really important in this process that we try to document lessons learned and best practices for conveyance of infrastructure. If HCDA is going to reposition itself as, the premier infrastructure development agency, this kind of process is something that we may have to replicate. So if at all possible, if you could sort of keep us apprised on lessons learned and try to design a reliable, speedy process for this. I imagine it's something that could become important in the future, and it'd be great to record those institutionally, as staff changes over time, so that the agency doesn't have to sort of relearn it over time. So thank you for your work on this.
Yeah, thank you, Member Higa. I think your comments do resonate with me because this matter has kind of spanned over the 10 years of 3, maybe 4 executive directors. And I've kind of made a personal commitment to resolve this matter, in an agreeable way, before my tenure ends at HCDA. So I take your comments to heart that, these kind of practices need to be documented, and also just the kind of this transaction and the associated steps with it need to be brought to the board as well.
Thank you, Member Higa. Any other questions or comments? Any public testimony? If not, let's go to item number 4. Report of the Executive Director, monthly report and other status report. Approved permit applications did not require HRS 206B-5.6 public hearings. Mr. Craig Nakamoto's Executive Director will now present the monthly report.
So Chair, the report is contained in tab 4 of your packet. I just want to point out, in the interest of time, one thing. Under the Honokia Surf Village environmental assessment and finding of no significant impact, we have been served with a complaint that was brought by plaintiffs challenging the final environmental assessment. Right now, we will be reviewing the complaint with our Deputy Attorney General, seeking representation. And then at the June meeting, I'll report back to the board on what the next steps are for this challenge. Thank you, Chair.
Any questions or comments in regards to the Executive Director's report? From the board, no? Any public testimony? Okay, well, thank you for those of you who joined us on Zoom, in person, or via YouTube. This concludes our business for today, and the meeting is now adjourned. It's 11:11. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone,
board
for
member.
joining.
Aloha.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you. Thank you.